Hold on to your seats, people. This scandal will be hotter than anything reality TV has ever seen. Beyond what you once thought was the backstabbing, betrayals, and turmoil, you won't believe the shocking reason why Kirk Frost and Mandisa Harris, two of the biggest hip-hop and love superstars, are being excluded from reality TV. What might be causing these to decrease? Was it a ridiculous controversy or a mistake that ended their careers? Or is there something more explosive and evil than what we've been told? Material that is nearly too hot to handle is seeping from the sources. The story takes a shocking turn that nobody anticipated. Imagine this. Kirk and Mendes have become the biggest misfits in reality TV history after years of being at the center of love and hip-hop's most memorable episodes, which included everything from family feuds to suspicions of adultery. But why would they be abruptly dropped from a show that so heavily depended on their drama? Stay with me because this debate is more serious, more scandalous, and deeper than you can possibly imagine. I can assure you that after reading this, your opinion of Kirk and Mendes will change. You are wrong to think they were unbeatable and would put up with any scandal that was thrown at them. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta has been heavily influenced by Kirk Frost, the once loved and treasured bad boy who is now a family man. He has been embroiled in several scandals, including adultery claims, affairs, and even a high-profile baby mama story. But Kirk always managed to regain his prominence and attract followers, no matter how things went. These two find themselves in the midst of the biggest crisis in their careers, which is about to blow up in their faces. These two were the hip-hop power couple that everyone loved to hate, and for years, their names were linked to drama. However, after that, things took a big turn, and according to concert insiders, it all began with Backstage gossip. Another individual who managed to make his time in prison seem like a springboard for his profession is Mandisa Harris. Along with Hip Hop and Love, he made a name for himself as a heartthrob by captivating audiences with the story of redemption. The long-running affair between Mendes and Kirk had now reached a breaking point. The producers, who were always looking for drama to spice up the program, were unprepared for the explosion that followed, but they sensed the tension and saw an opportunity. Kirk and Mendes' drama didn't remain behind closed doors. It escalated into a full-fledged battle with startling consequences. A hip-hop and love after-party that was only supposed to last a short while before the formal reunion show was where it all came to a climax. Many accounts claimed that Kirk and Mendes did not get along. Mendes allegedly claimed behind closed doors that Kirk was a washed-up husband who was only still relevant because of Rasheeda's notoriety. Kirk was angry because he had put significant effort into creating his legacy and didn't want someone like Mendes to destroy it. There was a time bomb waiting to detonate. The altercation is alleged to have begun with a few expletives, but the violence escalated as the temperature grew. Kirk, the proud veteran of the Love and Hip Hop series, was being attacked, accused of adding nothing new to the show, and even accused of trying to create rivalries to stay relevant. For someone like Kirk, who had been outspoken about how his previous problems were impeding the program, this was the ultimate insult. "I'm holding the show back," was said by a man who had just been free from prison and was barely noticeable until Yan Dandy came to get him, but he couldn't stop himself. After supposedly venting to his fellow cast members, what did Kirk do? He confronted Mendes alone behind the scenes. When they reunited backstage, things quickly got out of hand and led to an unimaginably violent altercation. How about fixing what's broken? His arrogance was apparent in every word as he claimed to have ridiculed Kirk. This was the tipping point for Kirk, and the fight quickly turned violent in front of the actors, crew, and producers. Kirk, who had a violent temper, shoved Mendes so hard that he staggered back into a chair. Then the attack started. Security rushed in to try to break up the brawl, but it was too late, as chairs were sliding to the ground and glass was smashed everywhere. Naturally, someone had pulled out their phone, and what had started off as a low-key after-party turned into the biggest event of the year, both physically and professionally. As soon as the fight started, videos of it went viral on social media, startling fans who had never seen anything like this in love and hip-hop. While the entire world watched, fans swiftly took sides, with some supporting Kirk and accusing him of being the aggressor and others defending Kirk by arguing that Mandis had no right to insult a love and hip-hop pioneer. However, it was evident that nobody was ready for the consequences that would ensue, and if that's the case, Kirk could face legal action. Furthermore, if Rasheeda freezes their joint assets, Kirk might be left with nothing. Since Rasheeda hasn't filed for divorce yet, Kirk is most likely already attempting to resolve the situation behind the scenes. But is it too late? Is Kirk now too far gone for Rasheeda to ignore? You better stay locked in because this story is far from over. The repercussions will be harsher than those of Kirk's previous apology tour, I assure you. After that horrible incident at the event, Kirk Frost's situation went from bad to utterly awful. And let me tell you, the consequences of this problem are coming fast and hard because Rasheeda is no longer playing games. We have only just begun. After the video of Kirk confronting Rasheeda became popular online, people started dragging Kirk around. So let me pick up where we left off. However, the real question was whether Kirk tried to make things right after the cameras stopped recording. Was Rasheeda able to get her things and leave? If so, is the relationship between Kirk and Rasheeda permanently over? Well, let's find out. Kirk reportedly tried to follow Rasheeda as she left the gathering, appearing composed but obviously upset. Witnesses claim to have seen Kirk running after her in the parking lot, calling her name and attempting to grab her arm. But Rasheeda, oh sis, resisted. She reportedly got into a black SUV and drove off without saying anything, leaving Kirk standing there looking stupid. However, the part is that Kirk allegedly didn't come home that night. According to people close to the couple, Kirk ended up at Frost's Bistro, which is the restaurant he and Rasheeda co-owned, and was seen drinking heavily at the bar. Claimed that although they made an effort to calm him, Kirk, he was on one. Oh, really? Kirk didn't do anything that horrible. You were caught on camera holding Rasheeda's elbow when she attempted to leave, forcing her into a corner and pointing in her face. According to one insider, Kirk was heard stating, "She's overreacting. I didn't even do anything that bad." Naturally, when Kirk allegedly began making calls that night, things became worse. Who was he calling? The side girl. Sources said that less than an hour after Kirk was seen texting and corresponding with an unidentified woman, the woman arrived at Frost. The next startling revelation is that Kirk had a child with the enigmatic woman, Jasmine Washington. Yes, Jasmine, in 2017, and that she was the one who essentially made Kirk and Rasheeda's marriage into a circus act. Jasmine is back on the scene. According to multiple witnesses, Jasmine entered Frost's Bistro, sat down next to Kirk at the bar, and the two were observed engaging in a protracted conversation for more than an hour. One witness claimed to have seen Kirk laughing indifferently while Jasmine caressed his shoulder and spoke in his ear. Would you truly be hanging out with your side chick hours after seeing your wife at a public function, given Kirk's lack of worry for the repercussions? You know what happened next. After someone alerted the reporters, Kirk and Jasmine were spotted leaving together as soon as they were outside Frost's Bistro. The pictures are terrible. We see Kirk putting his arm around Jasmine and guiding her to his car as she smiles as though she had just won. With the heading savage, Kirk Frost was already moving on. The pictures were widely circulated by the next morning on TMZ, Hollywood Unlocked, and The Shade Room. Rasheeda, sis, saw the photos of them with baby mama Jasmine after the alleged attack on her. Things get really complicated though, since, according to those close to Rasheeda, she has been seeing a well-known divorce lawyer. Yes, a divorce. If you are familiar with the financial status of the Frost, you are aware that Kirk and Rasheeda's empire is essentially entwined. They jointly own Press Boutique and Frost Bistro, in addition to a number of real estate holdings. Kirk should be afraid because it looks like Rasheeda is finally prepared to shoot. Rasheeda has receipts and is co-owned, sis. She has allegedly spent years surreptitiously compiling proof of Kirk's financial misconduct. We're talking about credit card purchases at upscale hotels, wire transfers to unidentified accounts, and even payments to Jasmine and a few other unidentified women. Now that Kirk's latest incident has come to light, Rasheeda is apparently in full damage control mode. In an attempt to get her to chat, he has been texting her frantically and even showing up at her place of business without warning. Rasheeda, though, she's not responding. Banned Kirk from using Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, and any other social media platform. And you know what? Kirk is going crazy. Jasmine has started talking. Jasmine hinted that Kirk had promised to support her financially and that he has been doing so by withdrawing money from his joint accounts with Rasheeda in an alleged exclusive interview with a well-known gossip website. She replied, they're about to blow up Kirk's entire situation. Meanwhile, Rasheeda has been lovely on social media. Kirk, however, had a more expansive perspective. He was worrying about his entire brand, not just his hip-hop career and love life. She hasn't made any clear statements, but she has been sharing some enigmatic Instagram stories, like one that features a dark screen with the words, "When someone shows you who they are, believe them." He was adamant that the empire he had established would not be destroyed by a single mistake. Disappear. Another thing is approaching. However, it became increasingly clear as the days passed that Kirk and Mendy's struggle would not be as simple as they had expected. They encountered resistance from the industry, and there were even claims that they were being excluded from reality TV completely. He allegedly told a friend, "I built my name, and I'm not going to let them erase me from reality TV history." Their formerly successful careers in the sector were now at risk of failing, according to many accounts. Because the brawl had caused too much damage, both men's reputations were now in jeopardy. It became a harsh reality that Kirk and Mendes might never appear on reality TV again. Now, what had been unachievable was all too real. This isn't just about a fight anymore, it's about trust. If Kirk and Mendes can't control their tempers, how can we trust them on another show? It's a liability. Given that their empire was collapsing, the networks would prefer not to take the chance. Then came the news that would change everything. The allegations that they were blacklisted were accurate, according to a source close to several networks. "We're not touching them. They're too much of a liability. They've made too many enemies. They're not touching them." As the days turned to weeks, Kirk, Frost, and Mendes faced the uncomfortable truth. A business that was now dying had once been built on their names and drama. Their authority was waning, their personal and professional lives were in danger, and the accusations of blacklisting had been confirmed. And the last thing we need is another PR disaster. What is going to happen to Mendes and Kirk next? Will it be something they can overcome? Will they launch their platform? Or is it really the end of their days in the reality TV business? In the competitive world of reality TV, Kirk and Mendes were undoubtedly not going down without a fight, and this was only the beginning of a new chapter in their journey. Since Kirk had built a reputation for himself on hip-hop and love over the years, it felt like a betrayal to have it all torn away in an instant. Thus, he wasted little time trying to save his profession after feeling abandoned and disappointed. Kirk was unwilling to be forgotten. Kirk is said to have informed his closest friends, "I'm not going out like this. I've made my mark on this industry, and I won't let some mistake erase everything I've worked for," he stated. And what would he do next? His story was obviously going to be Kirk Frost's. He immediately called his lawyer and demanded that they file a claim for wrongful termination. "I built the show," Kirk said, adding, "Without me, there is no show." Kirk was determined to expose the inner workings of love and hip-hop and reportedly said, "This is about legacy, about respect. They used me for years, and now they want to erase me. Nina, that's not happening." He wasn't going to ignore this setback because he understood the influence of public opinion and the media. Meanwhile, Mendes was wrestling. Like Kirk, Mendes understood the market and knew how to fight for what was rightfully his, but he was never one to give up, so he began to push back. Mendes, however, had a different approach. Instead of battling through a court case, He started a social media campaign to show his supporters that he wasn't going down without a fight. Being barred from the entire reality TV industry was another matter entirely. It was one thing to get kicked off the show, but it was terrible for someone who had built his name on TV and in public to be shut out of the entire industry. During an emotional Instagram live session, Mendes shared his viewpoint. He said, "I've been through a lot," with a voice that broke. Naturally, Yandy was there to support him through every challenge, and I've seen him go through worse than this. I've been away from my family, I've fought battles no one even knows about, and now this happens. When Yandy assured their followers during a live session, "And we always come out on top, we'll make sure of it," Mendes was terrified. One evening, as he sat with Yandy, the weight of it all struck him. He said quietly, he whispered, "I don't know if we'll bounce back from this. We're going to make it work," she promised him, looking ahead. It was obvious that Yandy had already started planning their next move. She knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but she also understood that they had an advantage that no network could take away: their fan base, their following, and their will to succeed. "We've got our brand, we've got our fans, and we'll find another way." Although Yandy remained hopeful, Mendes and Kirk had to face the reality that the entertainment industry had abandoned them. No network was interested in working with them, not after the fight or the drama, and definitely not after the criticism from sponsors and fans. Their emails and phone calls were not returned, and they were effectively kicked out of the company. But just when it seemed that things couldn't get any worse, rumors began to surface, with more and more sources asserting that Kirk and Mendes weren't merely placed on a blacklist. Mendes reportedly whispered to Yandy one night, "I'm done. No more television. I guess this is the end," he said, but Yandy wouldn't accept defeat. No, she firmly assured him it isn't the end. "We'll make ounces. We'll put on our performance. We'll take it elsewhere if they don't want us on their platforms. They aren't necessary for us. We have a following. We have a story to tell. We'll build something more substantial." Some fans were shocked by how quickly the industry had abandoned them, while others attributed their resurgence to Kirk and Mendes. One fan said on social media, "Kirk and Mendes made love and hip-hop what it is today. They're being thrown away like trash." But some weren't so understanding. They can't be shocked you can't put your hands on someone and expect no consequences, the user wrote, adding insult to injury to the already deteriorating dispute. What had begun as a contentious dispute had now devolved into a PR catastrophe. The harm was already done, and Kirk and Mendes didn't want the world to forget who they were, even though it felt like their love and hip-hop days were over. As Yandy stated, the world hasn't seen the last of them, and they were preparing their next move in spite of the industry's refusal to give them another chance and the growing pressure. The two guys realized they would have to change who they were, and they were still striving for their place in the spotlight, as usual. Here is the stunning tale of two of the most recognizable personalities in reality TV, Kirk Frost and Mendes, who are currently on a blacklist and battling for their position in the entertainment business. They must decide whether to succeed in their new independent show or whether their careers in reality TV are coming to an end. Kindly share your opinions in the space provided below, and remember to like, subscribe, and enable notifications for additional updates on this developing drama. You won't want to miss what comes next, I can promise you. Which team do you root for, Kirk or Mendes, or do you believe they both overreached themselves? Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications if you want to be informed of every startling development in this ongoing drama. That way, you won't miss any breaking news. I assure you that there is much more to come in this story. Do you believe they were unfairly penalized at the conclusion of their careers? Have they gone too far? Will their admirers return for their upcoming independent endeavors? Or will reality TV's current chapter come to an end? Kindly leave your remarks in the space provided below. We're continually updating you on the latest and most amazing tales out there.